Hi everyone, welcome to Northern Zen Yoga. My name is Sandra, and today we're going to talk about how to get these hips moving. So we've already discussed the mechanics of the hip, and I've shown you a few stretches that you can do to get your hip warmed up. But one of the areas that we have that's connected from the hip to the knee is called the IT band. Now, the IT band, and it has a much more scientific name to it, but I'm not going to give it to you right now because it's really not that important. What is important is that we understand what this band does and how to get it flexible. A lot of our problems with our hips and our knees are because of the IT band. Now, the IT band is one of those things that when you're not using it, it gets tighter and tighter and tighter. And as it tightens and it dries out and it gets unflexible, it starts to pull your knee up and pull your hip down. So think of it like a big elastic band that is contracting. And everything we do during the day in a normal movement would be exercising and stretching this to keep it flexible. But what happens is when we have jobs that require us to sit for a very long period of time, we get shortened IT band. And what happens then is when we walk in a way that causes pain. We get up, and you'll feel it if you've been sitting for a long time and you go to stand up, you'll find that you'll go, oh, and maybe you'll even feel back here, you go, oh, stiff here, and you have to wiggle that hip around to get things moving. That's the contraction of the IT band that's causing that. So what we're going to do today is a very easy and a very simple stretch that will help you to get your IT band back in shape. Hang on, we're going to start in a few moments. Okay, now we're ready to start. What you're going to need, and you might want to pause the video if you don't have one handy, if you don't have it with your yoga equipment where you can reach out and grab it, is you're going to need a strap, or quite often you can find these in exercise equipment stores a lot easier than you can find yoga straps. And these are just exercise bands. And what they do is they just create a little bit of tension for you to work with. They come in different tensile strengths. And part of this exercise with a band like this is that not only do you get the stretch you want and the support you want, but you get some muscle strengthening. So think of this like, something that you can add to your exercise routine to help build a little bit of muscle strength. And by doing that, by building muscle strength, you're also creating denser bones. So let's start. You're going to need also a mat, and you're going to need, maybe perhaps for you, you might be more comfortable by having a folded up blanket or a very small pillow. Nothing too high. You don't want to have your head up too much in an angle and your chin tucked in. But for some of us, when we're getting older, laying down on our back, especially first thing in the morning, may find that it's a little uncomfortable and you'll feel a strain in your neck. So having a small, low blanket, just fold it up for comfort, add a couple of inches to the back of your head is often very helpful. So let's get back down onto the mat. So we're going to come down onto the mat and we're going to relax down onto our back. And I always advise that when we come down that we bring our knees up with us so that we can just get our back used to the idea of being flat. We're going to lay here, we're going to rock a little bit. And quite often when people are in this position, they start to feel a little nauseous, especially when you first start yoga. That's okay. Just breathe through it. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. And if you need to, you can also breathe in through the nose and breathe out through your mouth. So bringing the knees up, rock on your back. Do a few circles if you like. And then we're going to grab our strap or our stretchy band, and we're going to stretch our leg up and try to straighten out the leg as much as we can. So in the beginning, your leg's going to resist this. We're just going to spend a couple of minutes just breathing into pushing our heel up toward the ceiling and placing our hand on our thigh for stability as we push our heel up. And if you like, you can hold on to your leg, but the strap should be doing most of the work of supporting the weight of the leg. You don't have to pull this down way far. You just need to have enough of a band and a reach that you can keep your leg upright. So, first thing I want to talk about is the hamstrings are going to be feeling a lot of this right now. And depending on your knee joint, you may never, ever, ever have a completely straight leg. My particular knee joint will not straighten out much more than you see right here. After this point, nothing really happens, no matter what I do. So even though I can feel my hamstring back here stretching out as I push my heel up, you'll notice that my knee always has this little bit of an arch in it, and that's okay. Some people have the opposite. They have knees that actually concave in, and that is actually more dangerous and something that you should avoid letting yourself do. That means that you have no support in the knee joint or very little support, probably from weak muscles. So you want to find the place where your knee feels the most comfortable in this upright position without feeling like you're overstretching. So we're just going to pull the whole leg from the hip. So we're not bending the knee to get it here. We're pulling the whole leg from the hip, and you might only get a small movement here. Pulling it up until we feel those hamstrings are definitely engaged. And then we're going to put our hand around our knee joint to keep it stable. So just grab it, and we're going to just turn our toes toward the opposite shoulder. And you're going to feel another sensation more in here, to just below your knee, to up. Sometimes it goes all the way from here to here. Sometimes you're just going to feel it just in this area. And we're just turning the ankle and the toes, but not the knee. So you don't want to let your knee turn to get your foot to turn. So it's a very, very delicate, tiny movement. And you just have to go until you feel the sensation, and then try to push your heel up a little higher and relax and breathe into it. Every breath, send every breath to the stretch. Imagine that as you inhale, you're sending energy to this spot, and as you exhale, you're releasing all the tension in your leg. Keep pushing your heel up and keep focusing on turning the toe toward the opposite shoulder. Release completely, bend your knee to let that go. And in the bend position, you can actually feel the IT bend. It's right in here. It's this big tendon that you feel right in here. We're going to let that foot relax, stretch out, and just let it go. We're going to switch sides now. And make sure when you're hooking your foot, you're not hooking it around the arch of the foot, but you're hooking it around the ball of the foot. Sorry, I should have mentioned that earlier. So this leg, we're stretching it out till we feel our hamstring back here in the back of the leg engage. And once we found that, we're going to gently pull the whole leg toward our body, toward our head, without bending the knee. Keep your hand on your thigh if you feel like you're always wanting to bend the knee, just to have a little counter pressure. Breathe into it, give it a few seconds, and then we're going to stabilize the knee and turn the ankle and toe toward this shoulder this time. And depending on the different lengths of your IT band and the different places that your body has settled into, one side you might feel it more than the other side. Once you've got it, that little bit of attention engaged, just gently try to pull your whole leg toward your face a little more. Keep turning your toe. And release, bend your knee toward your chest to relax it. And drop that down. So what you can do is you can do this in sets like we just did, and do it 3 times, but make sure you're not holding your position for more than about 15 to 20 seconds. You don't want to overstretch it either. You don't want to put it in a position where it starts to have overstretching problem, or you're going to have some pain there later. But you do want to at least a couple of times a week work on stretching the IT band, and also it's a stretch for your hamstrings as well, so that you can start to get a much more freer movement in the hip. If you don't keep this particular tendon freed up and stretching, you might find that you're going to have difficulties walking. Most of us, as we age, we start to tighten up a lot faster than we used to when we were younger. And one of the hallmarks of an elderly person is what I call the waddle, where they're shifting their weight. And you go down to Walmart or you go into the mall, you're going to see older people and they're walking in this rock back and forth gait, where they're basically shuffling and walking back and forth as they lift up one entire leg, push it forward, lift up the other leg, push it forward. And this is because of the IT band in their leg has almost atrophied. And it's got so tight that they can't even pick up their leg and swing their foot forward anymore. So they're walking in a very stiff-legged gait. And I don't want that to happen to you. I want you to be feeling young and free even into your 80s and 90s. And how you do that is by keeping your legs moving, keeping your hips moving, and keeping your body moving. So the next video we're going to have will work a little bit more in different areas of the hips. So stay tuned, and I'll see you next time. Don't forget, if you enjoyed this video and you think it would be helpful for your friends, please share it. And of course, like it and subscribe. If you haven't already, subscribe to Northern Zen Yoga. It helps me to keep these videos coming to you. And we will see you next time. Bye for now.